Om Shanti. Today I want to say something about understanding. You would have noticed that generally, even while giving Avyak Murlis, Baba from time to time asks, Samjhe, do you understand? Kya samjhe? What have you understood? Now this is very important, whether we really understand what Baba is telling us and what he really wants to understand. Have we understood it that way? This is very important because the Murlis are the same, our teacher, our Sadguru is the same, but there is difference between the state of being of one person and another. I think one of the factors which makes this difference is how far we have understood and the way we have understood. Some understand it fully well, others don't understand it the way Baba wants them to understand. So it's very important that we understand Baba's Murlis. So I want to give you a kind of a checklist. Whenever you read Murli or whenever you meet Baba and Baba gives you an advice in personal talks, whether we have really understood its connotations, its implications, its underlying meanings. Have we really understood it in depth or as he wants us to understand? Else why should he ask, Samjhe, do you understand? And then he says, Kya samjhe? What do you understand? So he really tries to draw our attention to this. And in one of the Murlis he said, if your state of being is not good, your mind is scattered, it's not concentrated, then go on reading Murlis. Even if you don't understand anything, even if it's not helping you. And maybe that a point or two would be what would appeal to you and would bring you back on the track. Now, I think the meaning behind it is that when we go on reading even something when our mind is somewhere else, maybe that first of all from the negative we come at least to the common level. Our negative thoughts are eliminated by reading, by our attention to this. And then we all of a sudden understand something. It hits us. And then the negativity in us is removed totally because there is a divine help through Murli that Baba wants to give us. And we understand it. Unless and until we come to that level of understanding, our state of mind is not as we should wish it to be. Now what are those things which really make us understand, give us a clear understanding of this? So I would now deal with what is understanding, how to understand, what is misunderstanding, and what is not proper understanding. Sometimes we overestimate something, sometimes we underestimate another thing. We understand it, but we don't properly understand it as we should. The understanding is not of a proper degree, maybe. And sometimes there is not only lack of understanding, but there is total absence of understanding. There may be also the reverse of it. And then after understanding, what is our reaction? Sometimes we understand it, but how we should react, that also is another question. And then I would divide this subject into two parts. One is how to understand what Baba wants to convey to us. The other is the understanding between brothers and sisters. When we talk to each other, when we work as a team, when we are as students at the center, our relationship with the teacher and ourselves as the student, there may be misunderstanding there. Why is it that sometimes we don't understand each other and there is misunderstanding, and that creates a lot of problems? So understanding at that level and understanding Baba's Murlis, Baba's advice. So I will give you a kind of a checklist as I said earlier. And you would find that this word samjhe, Baba uses it in various contexts, and he very much emphasizes upon this. I want first of all to bring out its importance in our student life. Even when a person is first come to our institution, he visits our museum for the first time. Baba asks us to give him an understanding. We give him a guide. Well, this person will take you around the museum or around the exhibition. Now, an intelligent visitor thinks that he does not require anyone because there are illustrations, paintings, he can himself understand, because the usual practice is that when a person goes and visits a fair or a museum, or he may like to have a guide or he may not, it is his option. But here we insist that a guide must be given because this is something new, and mere pictures will not explain things clearly. So a guide is necessary. And Baba very often uses the word whenever a visitor comes to your museum or center. He says, Samjhao, make him understand. Not that you just explain to him. Giving explanation is something different. That you have done your duty just by elaborating what is said, what this picture wants to show. But make him understand, Baba says. Samjhao, give him that understanding. And not only that, Baba says if a person really understands, he will come to Madhuban to meet Baba. It's really a sign of whether a person has understood it. When you say this is a picture of Shiv Baba, of God the Supreme, a point of light, that God is not omnipresent, He is our Father. And this just symbolizes what His self-luminous form is. If a person really understands it, then he would say he would like to realize it. There would be a smile, a kind of a happiness on his face, that this is what he was really searching for. And it is for the first time that he is face to face with God. And now he understands what God looks like. But if there is no such expression on his face, it means we are just giving him explanation. And he is also superficially understanding. It's not really understanding. Baba says even if you give him explanation of 2, 3 or 4 pictures, need not be that you take him around all the pictures in the museum. Give him understanding of 3 or 4. Even if he understands this alif and be, this alpha and beta, this A and B, even that is enough. These are the very important things which he must first of all understand. So Baba wants us to understand, he says it is education, it is not a satsang, it is a university. You are students. It is not just a lecturing or talk you are attending to, but something which should go into your head really. And then you should make others also understand. He gives great importance to understand. And very often you find that in the Middle East, he says that the present day world is bandarsama. It's like monkeys. They don't understand anything. He again draws attention to this, and he says even if a person is a scholar, a very learned person, and belongs to the intellectual class, the intelligentsia, but bandarsama, they are like monkeys and apes. They really don't understand. When they come to our... So what I was saying is that Baba says that people are nowadays of stone intellect. They are monkey-like. They are like apes. Even though they belong to the intelligentsia class, they do not really understand. I want to ask, why is it that they don't understand? When they can understand very subtle things, they have developed intellect, developed brains, and they have so much of information. Their memory is all right, their judgment is all right, so many qualities they have. In public life, they hold very high positions of great responsibility. And Baba says that they don't understand anything at all. And sometimes he says that they may trickery, as if there are pebbles in a box. Their intellect is like this. It's not full of gems and diamonds, their intellect, but it's full of pebbles and useless things like garbage. So why is it that he calls like this? And why is it that they can't understand when they can understand so many other things? So there must be some factors which determines. In the case of a person, those factors work and he understands. In the case of another person, those factors are not fully at play or some of them are working, others are absent, and therefore he does not fully understand. And this makes a lot of difference in our own spiritual efforts. So I think we should fully understand, fully realize the teachings of Baba. Moreover, we feel that even our understanding is something which improves from day to day. It's not that as you understand the knowledge today, you understood it in a similar manner as you when first came to this institution a number of years or a number of months back. So this is something which goes deeper. There is maturity which comes into our understanding also. So what is it that brings maturity? How our understanding also evolves from day to day. What are the factors again at play so that this also should give us some kind of a hint that what we understand today requires to be renewed or refurbished or improved, because it's not that what we understand today we have fully understood it. There is still some margin so that we can understand it better. Therefore, there is the need of attending the classes daily, reading the Murli daily, even the same Murli which we have read a number of times, because our understanding in itself evolves, it grows, it becomes more mature. It's not some kind of a static thing that it stops where it once was. It, on the other hand, improves as the time goes. Now, in the case of Baba's Murlis, what are the factors which we should keep in mind in order to understand him? And why is it that we understand him differently? Now, first of all, I think that we do not fully realize the attributes of Baba. Baba is called ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, ocean of bliss, Vikaldarshi, one who knows the past, the present, and the future, so on and so forth. But I think we do not fully understand the meanings, the implications of these attributes. So, in his personal talks with us, when we meet him, or when we read his Murlis, sometimes we do not properly understand because we miss these attributes, or we do not understand them as we should. Take the case of this attribute of Baba, that he is Trikaldashi. He knows the present, the past, and the future. Now, in his personal meeting with someone, with a brother or sister, now he says, will you come to Madhuban to meet Baba again? Or will you come here to have some kind of a training? Now this person says, and Baba asks whether you will have time, just to give respect to that child. Now, suppose this person says, possibly not, or it seems to be difficult, or I don't think this will happen. Now, Baba will not put this question. If Baba were an ordinary person, Baba is Trikaldarshi. He knows the present, the past, and the future. And this question comes from him. And I should understand that I know even my future not as good as Baba does. And when Baba is putting this question, he means I can come. The circumstances will be such that if I try, it will be possible. But if on the other hand I say it will not be possible, this shows that this attribute of Baba, whom am I speaking to? That this master who is speaking to me, one who is asking me to do this, he is Trikaldashi. I do not know myself, nor do I know the world drama, nor do I know the proper state of things that are going to come hereafter. It is Baba who knows them fully well. Even what abilities I have or what shortcomings I have, I did not fully realize unless these were given to my understanding by Baba himself. So, if I just keep it in mind that it is Baba Trikaldashi who is saying this, and it can happen, there is possibility. Though it looks at the present moment that it is very difficult, I should say, why not? Surely I will come. And I can assure you that even if the circumstances would otherwise have been not so convenient that I could have come, if Baba asks me and I say the positive, things would become easy. I should know that Baba also helps. He is Kalyankari. He does good to all. And he says that I am a loving father. I am a kind father. I want that each one of you should get first class. Each one of you should pass with credit. And he is therefore going to help us, like a father or a mother helps. He is going to sustain us. If I keep in mind all these attributes of Baba, then I think my understanding and my response would be different. And if on the other hand I miss these attributes at that point of time, these are not manifest in my mind when I listen to these verses, my response would be different. And it makes a lot of uh, it has lot of implications to one who is almighty authority whom the whole world is seeking. I am speaking to such a person, and if I say no, and if I know that this repeats after every 5,000 years, every cycle, and in the end, and how much is the gain? It is being explained to us, and how much is the loss if we miss this? And who is this person who is saying to us? If our response at this point of time, it is a very determining factor in our life. If we are just at the crossroads, you either go this way or that. Either you agree to this or you don't agree to this, and it matters a lot. So keep these attributes of Baba in mind, even when you read in Murlis. Now, for example, sometimes we think in every Murli, Baba says body consciousness is the root cause of all vices, and all vices are the causes of all sufferings, the downfall of mankind. And this is being repeated in Murli after Murli. So there's lack of understanding that one who is giving this knowledge, he has better intellect than we have. And if he is repeating, there must be need for it to repeat. We think that we have understood it again and again, and Baba is thinking that we are just like babies. And again he is teaching us the same lesson. We feel bored. If on the other hand, if we keep it in mind that Baba, he knows our betterment, how to bring about our welfare, and he uses all the best methods for us. Perhaps we need the spoon feeding. We need a perambulator sort of thing to help us to know how to walk, even at this stage. And he wants to put things into our head somehow or the other because they are not going at the proper place. So instead of thinking that he is doing it for our own betterment, if we on the other hand underrate Baba's place in the scheme of things and think that he is repeating as if we are not dullard, he is dullard, so to say, it's an insult. It is as a matter of disrespect. And as a matter of fact, we do not understand. And on the other hand, we think that Baba does not understand that we have understood it. Whereas the fact is that Baba says that you have not attained that stage of soul consciousness even 20%. So there is a need of recapitulating, revision. Recapitulation is an important element even in secular studies, even in the teachings in school and college. The teacher recapitulates, the students also recapitulates. Then only things are retained in our memory. Then only they are coming into our practice. But on the other hand, there is reversion in our mind instead of appreciation and understanding its value because our outlook is different towards that. And our outlook is different because we think that Baba does not understand. He told it yesterday also. If you remember that Baba told it yesterday, do you mean to say that Baba has forgotten that he told it yesterday? He has such a short memory. He does not know the past, the present, and the future. If I, as a human being with my failing memory, who does not know even his past life, if I remember that Baba said this yesterday, does it, appear sensible on our part to think that Baba has perhaps forgotten that he has told it yesterday also? So, our whole response to Baba's teaching depends upon our understanding, and our understanding is determined by our keeping in mind his attributes. What is the nature of his attributes? Take for example, Baba says, then on 18th of January I will come again, or on 21st of January I will come again. These are the very special days. In a subtle way, it's an invitation. Such a highest authority, out of love, out of affection, out of for our own good, is inviting us. And even to a child, he just makes this specific statement will you come to meet Baba again? Suppose we say that perhaps we will not be able to come. Just look our level of understanding. Who is inviting us? It's a great privilege, a great honor. Don't we understand who is inviting us? We think of the economic conditions, we think of our money, whether will be able to pay the ticket, or whatever circumstances will be, so on and so forth. All these hindrances can be removed if we just feel intoxicated and think, who is inviting us? It's His grace. We are we have great fortune that He is asking us and telling us beforehand. Instead of making preparations beforehand and just waiting impatiently for 21st of January or 18th of January to come, when we will be here a few days earlier, we think, let us see what happens and whether we will be able to come or not. Why is this wavering of mind due to lack of understanding? That such golden chances in life, whatever the cost, whatever the circumstances, He is our most, when we sing that He is our most beloved one, the one who is taking us, isn't it very often we say in songs, uh, you have made us this, you have made us that, Baba Tera Shukriya. And Baba said, I don't want you to thank me. I want what I'm expecting from you. We are just in little ways trying to thank Him for what He is making of us. But we do not realize what He is saying. And the last night, you remember, Baba said, no, not only thanksgiving in this way, but I will be more pleased if you do what I am asking for. So don't we understand? Therefore He asks, Sanjay, Sanjay, do you understand or you don't understand? Do you really understand? Because what is the reaction and how long it lasts, that understanding? And sometimes I feel that even if we remember His attributes, we remember one attribute and at the same time we do not remember another attribute. All Baba's attributes go together. They limit each other or they widen each other. All these attributes which are given to us are essential to know. Not only is Baba Trikaldarshi, but certain things Baba does not tell. For example, Baba knows that I will get some disease tomorrow. It may be a fatal disease. When I meet Baba, Baba does not give me this kind of a feeling that I may not be able to meet him next time because I am going to die. But He very much knows it. Now, it does not mean that there are certain reasons why Baba does not reveal. Baba says, if I begin to do this, then so many people will come, like they go to an astrologer or to a fortune teller. They would like to ask questions like this, what will happen tomorrow or a day after tomorrow or a year after. So He does not go into this. We should know Baba fully. And therefore Baba says, out of billions, out of millions, a rare soul knows me as I really am. A rare soul out of millions understands me as I am. फोटो में से कोई बिरला ही मुझे समझता है. मैं जो हूँ जैसा हूँ. What I am, who I am, the way I am, the attributes I have, my actions on this world drama stage, and what I say, only a rare few really understand it. He repeats it again and again. And this is mentioned in the Gita also a number of times, that very few souls out of this whole ocean, sea of mankind really understand it. And I think one of the reasons is that we understand or remember some of His attributes while we conveniently forget the others. Now, a teacher would, for example, meet Baba and say, Baba, thinking that Baba helps us, would demand some such a thing, would Baba, as one who does justice or one who does the give the benefit to all the mankind, cannot give to that because he does not do partiality. Perhaps I am asking for something which is not as beneficial to another soul, but Baba would be able to help me only when by helping me he is not putting obstacles in the ways of others. I have heard very often some making demands which would be satisfying to them, but which would be creating problems for others. And they think Baba is not helping us. They don't remember at this point of time that Baba is not only one who helps us or guides us, but he helps all. He cannot help me alone, putting obstacles in the way of others. So what I sometimes find is that we do not remember all the attributes of Baba. That he is kind and loving, but he is also a teacher. He cannot do partiality. So if I think there is need of going into the attributes of Baba and just trying to find out how they, I mean, either limit one another or they widen their scope, and what are exactly their connotations. It's a particular subject into which I think we need going into depth. And then sometimes what happens is we understand Baba, we understand Murli, or the advice he gives us, but we do not go into its implications and its repercussions. Now, suppose Baba tells us this is Golden Jubilee year, or it's a very special year. It's a year of tapasya. And during this year, if you just make sincere efforts to attain high level of soul consciousness and deep meditation, or this quality of contentment or other things which he has been mentioning, then you will have a great benefit. How much? How is it that this kind of a state which I will be having will cause certain other benefits to me? Sometimes a particular event is understood, but the repercussions of those events, the chain reaction with that event will set forth, that is not understood. If those who are doing nuclear fission, atomic explosions, I think up to now they have not properly understood what will be the reactions. They can understand it only in a very limited sense from the observation of one or two or three experiments which they have made, maybe even 100. But that again does not qualify them to understand it fully well. What will be its repercussions on the poles? What will happen to the ice caps there? Whether they will melt or there will be more accumulation of ice, and ultimately whether they will cause floods or they will get stuck there, whether there will be some kind of environmental change in weather, and what will happen to the flora and fauna, what reaction will be there, and if this kind of radiation is there, then after a number of years, the, how during the whole cosmos they even do not know. Sometimes they say that the universe is expanding, sometimes they say it has steady state. They do not even know this. So if it is not expanding, how much it is, they do not know. Because if they knew, they could not have said whether it is expanding or it's not expanding. So they have only limited knowledge. And with that limited knowledge, they do not know the quantum of repercussions and the repercussions. So what Baba says, what repercussions it will have. Suppose I do not make my state in this year, and I think maybe next year. This year I have another plan. Now, what repercussions it will have? What implications Baba's Murli has? I think it requires that I pay fully attention to this aspect also. So we just read the Murli, we understand sometimes what Baba means to say, the meaning of it, but not the implications and the repercussions of it. And then when we read Baba's Murlis or listen to him face to face, get his advice, it also depends upon what our present state is. Sometimes it so happens that Murli changes our state, it changes our moods. But all the same, it also is affected, it affects our understanding. Someone is displeased with his teacher. Someone is not happy with the class students, there is no unity. Or because of certain financial circumstances, one's mind is not happy. Now, in that state of mind, one cannot understand things as they should be understood because it affects, it influences our level of understanding. So, I think when we know that our mood or our state of mind is not proper, is not normal, so to say, there is some kind of a disturbance, some kind of a pollution, then I need to go through that murli again, at least once again, when I am okay, when my state of mind is proper. Because I find sometimes when such a beautiful, wonderful murli is given to us, some would say, Baba has already given these kinds of things. The main thing is that we don't practice. Now, why they react like this? They are frustrated with themselves. Maybe they think that it has already been said, but it is very difficult to follow. It is something which is ideal being given. At this point of time, this person, because of his past experience, is not happy with himself, and therefore he reacts in this manner. Maybe if he achieves a little more success, or if he is in a happy frame of mind and reads this murli again, then this one will also appreciate, oh, it's really wonderful. So we need not, I mean, therefore Baba asks us that we should repeat, we should revise this murli again and again. Because we as yet have not attained that constant state of happiness, or constant state of purity, or constant state of soul consciousness. Therefore, it is required that our if our one state of mind is not good, then we should read it again, study it again. There may also be certain physical handicaps, in the sense that a person is feeling sleepy, or there is some physical trouble, fever, or gastric trouble, constipation, headache, toothache, some small or big diseases. I think as yet we have not risen to that level of soul consciousness when we can keep these totally under check. They don't influence us. They do influence our understanding. And I personally think that if we just read the history, many of the events were as they were because those who were involved, they were physically sick. The heads of the state, those who made decisions, political decisions, military decisions, like Hitler, for example, Mussolini, Stalin, they were sick people. 99% of them were sick physically. And I think if they were in a proper physical state, even then they would not have made the decisions which they made. One of the reasons was that either they had brain cancer, or they had some heart disease, or there were other kinds of patients, and they had such diseases which influence their judgment and their level of thinking. Very often we, while giving the benefits of meditation, say that it gives us a state of relaxation. It does not cause us psychosomatic diseases. It helps us to be relieved from them. These are some of the benefits that we have. But I think not only is it that it gives us a better state of physical health, but that better physical health in its own turn gives us a better kind of judgment and a better kind of understanding. If a person is not sick, not ill, when he meets someone, even an opponent, even an enemy, if he is in a happy frame of mind, to the proposals of the opponent, his reaction would be different. But if he is feeling dis-ease, which means he is not feeling easy, then he would react to the same proposals differently. Same happens when a person, for example, is sleeping. Now, one has been waking up the whole night, and Baba is telling us something very important. And I say, and while doing this, I say, you will find many, they are sleeping, but still saying yes. I notice it a very many number of times, just trying to show that they are not asleep, they are awake, trying to tell others that they should not think that the person is sleeping. But from the drooping heads, it's quite evident they are sleeping. And they have not understood what Baba means to say. And they think they have understood. Similarly is the state of intoxication. Sometimes we are so intoxicated, even with because of spiritual knowledge. Our state of mind is such that we are very happy. In the seventh heaven, you can say, we are. And I think even then we don't understand. Maybe we don't take it seriously. A little bit of seriousness is also necessary. And a little bit of happy frame of mind is also essential. There should be balance of that also. If we are an over jolly spirit, then also I think we don't understand things properly. There should be balance on this score also. Then one of the important thing is proper rapport. Everything will go over our head if we don't have the proper rapport with the speaker. It always happens. So rapport, our level of understanding, some kind of a proper mental pardon. So I think that unless and until we are soul conscious, what I mean to say is take the case of hearing news from BBC or Voice of America. Now, if our wavelength is, if our radio, our receiving set is not on that level, then we won't get those news. We have to be on that meter, that wavelength. Now, similarly, if we really want to understand what Baba wants to convey us, then we must be soul conscious. This is the first requirement. And therefore is the place of meditation first before Baba's Murli starts. And sometimes we miss it. We just come at the last moment. We think that before Dadi comes, we should be there in our chair. And before Murli starts, we must be there. It's like a formality. And the first period we can miss. It's another thing that you are meditating somewhere else. You want to meditate in fresh air or whatever you like. But if we don't meditate properly, I think we don't understand properly also. Because the spirit of it you can catch only when you are withdrawn from the body. And Baba says this is something new in this Gyan, that here there is not a corporeal teacher teaching you corporeal beings, but the Supreme Soul teaching to you the souls. So he addresses you as souls, as when he says children, naturally souls as children. And Shiv Bhagwan Vach, he says, Shiv Baba said, this is how many Murlis start. So if we have this kind of consciousness that we are souls, and the teacher who is teaching us is the Supreme Master, God Himself, the Supreme Being, then our level of understanding will be better. And it will not only be understood merely at the intellectual level, but we will be able to have this inflow of knowledge from the Supreme Soul to the soul. This channel will be open. There will not be any kind of a blockade between this kind of a, we will be open to Baba's influence, we will be exposed to this. Otherwise, our level will be just low and many things will not be properly understood. And then I was saying one thing important is revision. If you just read any commentary on Gita or any explanation of the versions of Gita, many authors have said in the foreword that whenever they read this Gita again, they find new meanings. They discover new meanings. I think there is not perhaps a single commentary on the Gita which does not mention this. The author always says that the more he reads the Gita, the more meaningful he finds the shlokas, the verses, and there is deep meaning lying underneath it. And I think this happens with us also. When we read Baba's Murli works, it is our nature that all the statements, all the assertions are not fully understood in one reading, in one go. Some come to our attention, others we miss. Because there is so much in it. And it is for so many children who have different states. Some appeal to us today because we require them today. Others perhaps we don't understand because our state is not like that. Others understand those statements because they appeal to them, their state is like that. But when we read it the next time, some student has put a question to us, and when we read the Murli, we find, oh, this was the best answer which that person asked us. Yesterday also we read that Murli, but we did not understand it as we understand it today. So there is a need of revision of Baba's Murli. And I think there is great significance why after Baba giving Sakar Murlis during his Sakar lifetime has given us this period of revision, even after he having become Avyakt. Because even those of us who have been listening to it again and again still need revision. It's an important part of understanding it fully well. Then also churning. Unless and until we understand, churn over, take every statement. Don't take it simply at its face. Thinking that what it means is what it literally means. But what its importance is, what its significance is, why Baba says this, and how it fits into our spiritual efforts. Unless and until we do churning, you will find each statement of Baba requires churning. And Baba says Baba's vakyas, that is Baba's statements, are not mere statements. There are two in Sanskrit. There are two kinds of statements. One are vakyas, that is statements or sentences. The other are mahavakyas. Mahavakya means major statements, significant statements. And it depends upon the person, whether what he says is quotable quotes, some kind of proverbial truth, some kind of an eternal wisdom. Since Baba is full of that eternal wisdom, his every statement is a quotable quote. It's full of, I mean, divine guidance and all that. So it requires churning. And I said that it is Mahavakya. Take the case of, for example, Baba says that there are many blunders which we commit. Many blunders because of body consciousness and because of ignorance, because of influences of people who have negative states, because of reading literature which has negativity in it, because of the influence of cinema, the bad films. Many such influences are there, many pressures are there, and because of this we have been doing many wrong actions. We have been committing blunders life after life. Bhool, as Baba says, bhool. In Hindi they say bhool, blunder or mistake, error. But Baba says there is a blunder which is the mother of all blunders, the root of all blunders. Just as they say constipation is the mother of all diseases, purity is the mother of peace. Now, similarly, Baba says there is a mother of blunders who has given rise to all these blunders. There is a seed which has given rise to all this tree of blunders. Like we have this kalpa tree, we can make a tree of blunders also. And you will find that at the root there is one single seed. And Baba makes this statement. And sometimes he says, ek, one blunder. But at another point of time in one of his statements, he said, ekaj bhool. Ekaj bhool. Now there is difference between ek bhool and ekaj bhool. Ek bhool means one blunder, one mistake. Ekaj bhool means one blunder which gives rise to so many blunders, which is the mother of blunders, which is the seed of blunders. Now to body consciousness he says it is ekaj bhool. Anger is a blunder. Sex lust is a blunder. All these vices, if we do anything under their influence, they are blunders. But body consciousness is the mother of all blunders. In Hindi he says ekaj bhool. It is one blunder which gives rise to so many blunders. All the blunders you can say. Now take this statement. If I just read this ekaj bhool, I don't understand what it means. But why Baba says it ekaj bhool? Why not he says ek bhool? One blunder. Now then I get that this causes so many other blunders. Similarly, you will find with any statement, if you take any statement, I will tell you that it requires churning and it requires cogitation. We must go into its depth. We must understand its underlying meanings. Very often we understand it superficially. We have not really understood it. Therefore, Baba says, out of millions, only a rare soul understands it as he should understand. Sometimes it is just a square peg in a round hole. Sometimes it is a round peg in a square hole. This point has not fitted well into our mind because it has not brought any transformation in us. The proof is, if we have really understood all the statements of today's Murli, I should be perfect. Because even Baba's one Murli can make me perfect, I tell you. But all this Murli of 2 or 3 pages, consisting of so many sentences, consisting of so many Mahavakyas, major statements, made by the highest authority who is the ocean of knowledge, with what wider intellect, with all those attributes he is making those statements, I have not been able to realize. Therefore, I need to read every statement and to think and rethink over it. Then only I will understand. And then it all depends upon whether we are Baba's instruments. Our understanding depends upon that also. I find that those who are teachers, who are dedicated, who are surrendered, who think they are instruments in Baba's service, they give more attention to Baba's murlis. Because an instrument, if you think that you have to make use of them in service, Baba gives you not only for your own benefit, but also to be passed on to others. So that Baba says, become donors, Mahadani. It's very important factor of our life, Mahadani. Unless and until we become donors, our wealth does not increase, it does not multiply. Even if we got this knowledge, this beautiful point, it remains only up to that stage. It does not multiply. On this kind of like money we have, if we put it in banks, then we get some interest, compound or simple. And if we put it in our almirah, in our own locker at our own place, we don't get any interest. Same happens with this. If we just pass it on to others, when we give it to others, you will find that even at that point of time there is revision, and certain things which we did not understand by making this statement, they just like a flash appear on the surface of our mind. So I think we must make ourselves instrument, and when we listen to Baba's murlis or when we read them, we should read it with this intention that these are like law points. Baba says, when you just study law, it's not that you just study it, because you have to appear in a court. You have to have the brief of a particular client, and his loss or his success depends upon you are putting the case properly unto a judge. You have a great responsibility as a judge. Then you read that, you study that law from this point of view, that you have to use this point in a particular case. And Baba says that you also have this profession, because life after life we have been dying. And this kind of death, Baba says, is the capital punishment. Many governments are now trying to avoid capital punishment. They say it is barbarous. But even if the government does not give a criminal a capital punishment, everyone dies. And this kind of death is capital punishment. The way a person dies because of disease or because of accident or whatever, it's very painful. And this is kind of a punishment. And this is the capital punishment. And Baba says you have to now give these points of knowledge to others to liberate people from this capital punishment. Like in a particular country, a person has been given capital punishment or is liable to be given capital punishment, and an advocate appears on his behalf. He has his brief and he gives law points saying, "My lord, this man did not do this. There is benefit of doubt, this thing and that thing." If he misses a particular point, this person may be hanged. If on the other hand he gives something which appeals to the judge, this person's life may be saved. So you have also that kind of a responsibility. If you therefore listen to Baba's murlis from that point of view, you will find that they really, you understand them, their importance. Same is the case with medicine. A person who studies medicine, he goes to a medical college and he learns medical sciences. Now he knows that this is the medicine of a particular disease. He has not just to learn it for his own memory, that's all. He has to use it when patients come to him. And when he understands that he is going to be a practitioner, a medical practitioner, and he will require this knowledge in order to relieve people of a particular disease, and he has a great responsibility. If he gives the wrong medicine, the other person may lose his life. And if he does not give the proper medicine at a particular time, then also the same thing may happen. Such is great his responsibility. So if a person comes to our center and we do not tell him the point which we should, this person may not come to the center again. So we are causing a spiritual death.
Who is responsible? We are a not properly qualified surgeon or properly qualified doctor. We do not know what this person is suffering from. We are giving disease of some other, I mean medicine for some other disease. Though he is suffering, our diagnosis is not proper. So just to give, and Baba was saying that if you just do tapasya, you would be able to know what this soul requires, and you would give him the points according as he needs. This tapasya will give you that kind of a state of being. So if we are soul conscious when we listen to Baba's murlis, and also we listen to it with this angle, with this in our mind, that we have to use it to relieve people from sufferings, from pain, from peacelessness, and to relieve people to so that they can conquer death and maya. Then our responsibility is great. Then what happens is that we are in a state of alert. Our mind is totally alert at that time because of that responsibility. Our attention is maximum. And in that state of alert, when our attention is maximum, when there is not a touch of slumber, of body consciousness, or of, Baba says, albelapan, carelessness, thinking that it is something precious, valuable for our profession, for our service, which is being given to us, then with that heightened awareness, that super awareness, you can say, we can get that point better. We can understand and appreciate, not only understand, but appreciate it better. Therefore, Baba has been giving various names to this knowledge. Sometimes Baba says these are gems. I read a statement without thinking that it is a gem, that every word of it is a diamond. Every statement is a necklace of diamonds. I don't realize. I think, yes, Baba says become soul conscious, don't be body conscious. That these words are diamonds, how they are, I don't really understand the value of each diamond, each word of it. Sometimes Baba says this is Amrit, nectar. When I read, do I really feel that I am drinking nectar? Every sentence I read that it's another sip of nectar, another drink of nectar, or another gem added to my treasure. If I do not really feel this kind of thing, it is because I am not an instrument. I am not having that heightened awareness. My attention is not fully to this. I don't really understand its importance, and therefore my level of understanding will not be as it should be. And I remember when Baba, after giving Murli, will go to his chamber, when Baba was in Sakar form, he his whole face would be red with, and also uh, all the curves of happiness and joy would be there, as if he is intoxicated. All the blood is rushing to his face. There's a luster, special luster in his eyes, and his face would give the expression he has had so much of nourishing food, and he has attained so much of strength and happiness, and all this which goes with his what Baba attributes or ascribes to Murlis. And he would say, how wonderful was this point? Then again he would recapitulate another. How wonderful was this point which Baba gave? Because at that time he also was a student, the senior most student, and he would recapitulate point after point in his chamber what Baba said today. And so should be in our case when we are up from reading Murli. We should feel that we had had a shower, that we had a glass full of Amrit, that we had many diamonds added to our treasure, that we have so many other benefits. We have had so much of knowledge, which is wisdom. All this. And this can be possible only when I am in that heightened awareness, as I said, when I think that I'm an instrument. And then sometimes Baba says halkapan, physically as well as mentally as well as spiritually. A person may be worried. A person's mind may be occupied with certain other thoughts, or has some kind of a pull that one has to do this, that, and the other things. There are other tasks awaiting, and that he is reading the Murli. because he has to be present in the class, but mentally he is somewhere else. And it may be a genuine reason because this person has certain things to do. But that kind of attention is not there, or that kind of halkapan, that light with a light mind, he is not doing it. There is some kind of heaviness in his mind. So this another would be a kind of a blockade whereby he would not be able to understand this Murli properly. So this halkapan is required. And then I think that whenever this understanding is the basis for our judgment. Judgment is one of the powers which we have, which we are supposed to attain by means of meditation. And this spiritual knowledge which we get is also expected to enhance our understanding, our judgment. But judgment, as I said earlier, is based on our understanding. Unless and until we understand, how can we make judgment? Our judgment will be faulty if our understanding is faulty. Our judgment will not be proper if we do not understand things well, if we have not taken into account all the things. And I think judgment comes only after we have weighed things. We have put things into a balance. Unless and until we look to the merits and demerits, we cannot judge whether this thing is right or wrong. What do we mean by right and wrong? That if we do it, these are the advantages. If we don't do it, these are the disadvantages. So only after weighing, judgment is nothing but weighing. What is judgment? Judgment is putting things into balance and seeing which way the balance is tilted. And this kind of judgment, which thing is more weighty, or you can say in other words, which thing is more meritorious, which thing is more advantageous. That is what your judgment should lead you to. Which thing is more righteous. So it comes only after you understand the merits and demerits, advantages and disadvantages, the good points and the bad points, the plus points and the minus points. So when you listen to a thing or read a thing, know both the things, plus points and minus points. Unless or until you know the plus points and minus points are the advantages and the disadvantages, you do not understand it properly. What Baba is saying, what are the positive points? And if you don't do this, what are the negative points which will happen? Because things will not stay either at the zero level. When you have put something in the balance, and if you have not put the weights on the other pan of the balance, then, or if you have put less weights, something would happen. The arms of the balance would certainly move. They would not be in right angle. I mean, in 180 degree. So what happens is that when you listen to a thing, you first try to find out its merits and demerits, its pros and cons, its plus and minus points. Then only you really understand. And sometimes I think that when Baba says certain things, they may not be clear to us at this point of time. Because if I just look back to when I first came in Gyan, that this world destruction is coming, may not have been understood as clearly as it can be understood now, after say 32 years, even after 50 years. At that point of time, the result of nuclear weapons are the two world powers developing into two antagonistic power blocks. This kind of world situation was not very clear as it has emerged now. So many things which Baba says may at this point of time be not very clear to us. And we may perhaps think that we do not know whether this will happen or not. And I remember people, some of the sisters and brothers saying, destruction or no destruction, leave this point alone. What we are interested in is meditation. I say no. That there is a period of time fixed. And within this period of time, you have to get yourself liberated from all the past negative actions we have been doing. In this framework of time, these efforts can be looked at properly. If you want to understand Baba's knowledge, you have to understand every point, because it's a system. It's not that you can understand some points and you can say, let us forget about the other points. It is as a system that it means what it means. If you just miss even a single point of it, thinking that it is unnecessary, Baba is not teaching us anything which is unnecessary, or which you can say, well, if we do not understand this, it doesn't matter. It does matter. So therefore, each and every point has its importance because it is connected with the other. And if you don't understand it as a system, you are not properly understanding even a single point. If you just show the eye of a person, you can't understand whose eye it is. You can understand it only when it is in the face and where it is. If you put the eye here, even then it can't be understood. The eye must be in the place of the eye and the nose in the place of the nose. The ear should also be there. If the ear is chopped off, the nose is chopped off, and the chin is chopped off, only the framework remains and the eyes remain. You can't recognize the person. If you just take the, map of the world and just break it into pieces, small bits, even of various countries, and you just scatter them on the ground, nobody can make any sense. It is only when it is the whole thing is there, the whole drawing of the map, that you understand this is North America, this is South America, this is this and this is that. Its whole geography, its climate, unless and until the latitude, longitude is there, you can't understand its climate, its geographical, geophysical position, what will be the color of the people, what will be their habits, what will be their eating habits, so on and so forth. They are all connected, interconnected. You can't separate one from the other. Even the whole cosmos is, I think, connected. You just remove a single straw from its place, the whole thing will crumble down. I feel everything is at its proper place as it should be. It is so, systematic. Same is the case with this knowledge being given by the wisest person, the supreme being. And during this period of time, whatever he has been telling, and the sequence in which he has been telling, and the degree in which he has been improving each point, telling us from day to day. Why he gives this murli today, why he did not give it yesterday, even that is significant. Why he tells us another thing tomorrow, not today. The murli which he gave us yesterday, he could not have given 50 years ago because such was not the point of time. The circumstances were different. Its every word is meaningful only when we see it in the context of the space and time as it was yesterday. So it is a complete system, and its time, its place, its occasion, all things matter. It is in a particular context. Unless and until we understand its context, its framework, like you don't understand the latitude and longitude of a place, you can't understand its time and weather and other things. So happens with this. And if you don't understand a single point, I can assure you, if I just begin putting questions to you, you have not really understood the other points. Suppose someone says God is not omnipresent. I have understood this. And God is a point of light. He is in Paramdham. This point, Jagdish Bhai, I have understood very well. But destruction or not destruction, to me, this point does not matter. Allow me to put these questions one after the other to this person, and I tell you, there will be weakness at the base of this man's belief, and he will ultimately come to doubt himself because this person is missing another important point with which it is connected. You will find that his efforts are not as they should be because he has not understood this. So don't say 5,000 years or maybe 50,000 years, it matters little. Of course, we know that destruction is going to come, but 5,000 years or 50,000 years, after all, we are not scientists. Baba is not teaching us geology or some these kinds of branches of knowledge. Forget about this. No. Chance to forget about this. Remember this, I say. Remember this well, because it's connected. Everything is interconnected if you want to really understand it. So we must understand these things fully well and all connected and in that context. And what I was saying was that certain things cannot be understood today. It is because there are certain things which have which can make it clear. But those developments are not there so that we can understand today. Take the case of Vimans. In our Indian texts, Sanskrit texts, the word Viman is mentioned, that there were some aeroplanes, some flying machines in the past. People could not really understand them as to what they were. The word was there that there were some kind of flying machines whereby people used to fly. But what exactly they were, and I find that many Western scholars said that it is mythology. They did not consider them as a part of history, but they thought that it was mythology. And now that when they have invented various kinds of flying machines, one after the other, now people are able to understand the meaning of this word Viman. And so many kinds of Vimans are mentioned. And the more the variety of Vimans, aeroplanes we have nowadays, the better we are able to understand those texts as to what kind of Vimans they were. For example, in some the fuel was used was mercury. How would mercury be used? One would be surprised. We generally use this petrol, refined petrol, and it would be impossible for us to believe that mercury could be used as the fuel or some other thing can be used as a fuel. But gradually people are coming to realize, and when there is an invention and we read in the newspapers, then we appreciate, oh, the people in the old also knew these things. We thought that they used to live in caves and jungles and used to wear the barks. They ate the fruit of the jungles. They did not even grow crops. They were hunters and gatherers. This is how we think of them. But the more we understand in the light of the present inventions what they said, then we think that they were better than us. I know that many of the medicines in Indian system of medicine, now the West is turning to those kinds of medicines, which are actually some kind of juices from our fruits, from our grains, from our cereals, from other things, concoctions or things like that. Though our present system of medicine is altogether complicated, difficult, it causes many diseases and after effects. But previously it was thought that the Indian system of medicine is very crude. It was not developed because perhaps they did not have this kind of chemistry and pharmacology and all these branches of knowledge. So what I was saying was many points which Baba gives us today. I am just giving you this analogy, this example,